Once upon a time, in a small city, there lived a teenage boy named Leo. Leo was known for his laziness and tendency to procrastinate. He would spend hours on his phone, endlessly scrolling through social media, watching TV series, and getting lost in the digital world. He didn't feel the need to do much else. School assignments, personal goals, hobbies, everything took a backseat to his screen time. And Leo wasn't the only one. His friends, his family, they were all trapped in the same cycle of distractions. It wasn't uncommon to see Leo sitting at the dinner table with his phone in his hand, barely noticing his parents trying to get his attention. His friends would text him about the latest trends or funny memes, and they would all spend hours together, doing nothing but watching videos or playing games. It felt like time didn't matter. After all, there was always tomorrow to get things done, right? One day, while walking through the city, Leo stopped by the local grocery store to grab some snacks. As he walked down the aisles, he noticed an old man named Mr. Barham who worked at the store. Mr. Barham was a quiet, humble man, well known around town for his wisdom. People would often seek his advice about life, relationships, or work. But Leo had never really thought much of it. He figured the old man was just another person stuck in his old-fashioned ways. That day, though, something felt different. Leo found himself in front of Mr. Barham at the checkout counter. As Leo paid for his snacks, Mr. Barham looked up at him with a thoughtful expression and said, "Leo, I've noticed you spend a lot of time on your phone, scrolling through things that don't matter. Do you ever wonder what you're missing out on?" "What do you mean?" "I'm just having fun. Everyone does it." Mr. Barham smiled gently, then gestured for Leo to follow him to the back of the store, where he pulled out a small hourglass. The soft sound of the sand flowing through it filled the quiet air. This hourglass represents your time. Every grain of sand is a moment of your life passing by. And every time you waste time, like endlessly scrolling on your phone or binge watching a show you won't remember tomorrow, a grain of sand slips away. Leo looked at the hourglass, intrigued. He had never really thought about it that way. Do you see how quickly the sand falls? That's how fast your life is passing by, Leo. You're wasting so much time on things that won't bring you joy or success. You can spend years scrolling through Instagram, or you can use that time to learn something new, build something meaningful, or spend real moments with the people who matter. Leo felt a sudden jolt of awareness. He thought about all the hours he had spent mindlessly watching TV shows he barely cared about, scrolling through social media, or playing games on his phone. His friends did the same. His family did the same. It was a cycle. They were all trapped in. Time doesn't wait for anyone, Leo. It's up to you to decide how to use it. If you keep wasting it, one day you'll wake up and realize you've missed out on so much. But if you start making small changes today, you can transform your life. But how do I start? How do I stop wasting so much time on my phone and TV? The change begins with awareness. Set limits for yourself. Try using your phone for just 1 hour a day. Then use that time to do something productive. Start small with one task, one goal. And once you start building good habits, you'll see the difference. Okay, I'll try. The next day, Leo made a commitment to himself. He started by setting time limits on his phone and replacing mindless scrolling with productive activities. He created a simple schedule for his day, carving out time for homework, reading, and even some outdoor activities. Instead of wasting hours on social media, he focused on things that actually mattered to him, learning new skills, spending quality time with his family, and catching up with his friends in person rather than through screens. At first, it was difficult. His friends would invite him to watch a new series or play games online, but Leo would politely decline. Instead, he spent time working on a passion project he had been putting off for months. He even started exercising more, something he had never had the time or energy for before. Weeks passed, and Leo began to notice the changes. He was more focused, more productive, and felt better about himself. felt less anxious and more present in his everyday life. His relationships with his friends and family improved as well. They were no longer just people he spent time with while staring at his phone. They had real conversations, did activities together, and supported each other's goals. Soon, his friends began to notice his transformation. Leo started talking to them about how much time they were wasting on their phones, and a few of them decided to make changes too. They set limits on their screen time, read books, and began working on their own personal goals. The entire group was slowly breaking free from the grip of digital distractions. The change didn't just happen for Leo. As the months passed, the whole city started to shift. People began to realize that they were spending too much time on their screens, and they started making small, deliberate changes in their lives. They started focusing on real-life experiences, learning new skills, and reconnecting with those around them. Years later, Leo became known as someone who had transformed his life and the lives of others by understanding the value of time. He shared his story with younger generations, teaching them that time is precious and it's up to them to use it wisely. He often thought back to that day in the grocery store with Mr. Barham, and he was forever grateful for the wisdom the old man had shared with him. The city thrived as people began to make the most of their time. They stopped wasting it on distractions and started living with purpose, building meaningful lives filled with growth, connection, and real achievement.